Hi, everybody. Dr. Stu Hoffman, president of ChiroSecure, back with you again today. As I go around the country and I sit on certain boards and in certain meetings all over the place, I find that people are always asking, how do we get a greater market share for the chiropractic profession? It seems that no matter what we do, we're at that same level of penetration. And I was talking to Dr. Gerry Clum about a week or so ago, and he told me about this study that I said, oh my God, I can't believe that this even exists, let alone what it has to say. Why doesn't anyone know about this? And so we got into a little bit greater detail about it, and I wanted to get this information out to our profession. So today I have Dr. Clum with us, and it's known as the ADAMS study, and it's really about the prevalence, patterns, and predictors of chiropractic usage in the United States amongst U.S. adults. And number one, come on in and thank you for being with us again, Dr. Clum. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Stu. Great to be back, and I appreciate the opportunity. You're right, this is some great stuff we've got to talk about.
It's really exciting, and I hope people will get a piece of this because, you know, even when we talk about the stroke issue and this and that, we've put a whole package together of information and research summaries so that the doctors can be educated and talk from a professional perspective. And here we have something that people should be talking about every single day, because it's so incredible and supports what we've talked about for over 100 years. And here we go. We're going to talk about it today. So do you want to just start off telling everybody how this came to be?
Sure will. Before we get into any details, let me just tell you to put an exclamation point on what you had just said, Stu. Without sounding terribly over the top, I think this could be the single most important piece of scientific literature I've seen in my career, now going on 47, 48 years. This drives home everything that we have talked about, everything that we thought we saw in our offices, everything that patients provided us as far as feedback goes. This has quantified it and qualified it in a way that we have never, ever seen before. And I'm not saying this is the last piece of research we ever need or anything of the nature, but I'm just saying that this is groundbreaking, and there has not been anything like it. I've got some slides prepared that would be great to go through if we could at this point.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So first couple of questions. You know, your viewers and our colleagues, you know, sometimes it's a lot of research is another yawn for them. And there isn't things that are particularly interesting or important to them in their office on Monday morning. And this is not one of those studies. So let me walk through a little bit of the background of the study and tell you why I think this is important, number one, and number two, why it's particularly interesting. First of all, this is a very current study. It was published in late 2017, and it appeared in the journal Spine, a very reputable journal that we all know about and deal with papers from all the time. The study was conducted by non-chiropractic researchers in Australia, Germany, and Sweden. These folks don't have a dog in our fight. They don't live in our country, and they're not in our profession. The basis of the study was the National Health Interview Survey from 2012. Now, before somebody says, oh, 2012, this is 2018, you're already 6 years behind. Well, that survey works kind of like the census. The data you get is a couple years old, but it takes a while for it to get out. So the 2012 data is the latest data set from the National Health Interview Survey. So this is as current as it gets. Now, probably the majority of your listeners have never heard of the National Health Interview Survey. And it's a product of the federal government, and it is identified in the paper as the principal and reliable source of comprehensive healthcare information in the United States, utilizing a nationally representative sample of the civilian, non-institutionalized population of the United States. So this population base is, this is you and me in our family, Stu. This is persons who are not in the military. This is persons who are not incarcerated. This is persons who are not wards of the state or in mental institutions, etc. This is Joe and Mary public that's walking the streets of Scottsdale or San Francisco or Atlanta or New York. Now, there were 42,366 households that were eligible to participate in the survey. And as astonishing as it sounds, 34,525, or approximately 80% of those who had the opportunity to participate in the survey did so. This is a staggering participation level to begin with. So,
is that unique?
I'm sorry.
Is that kind of a response unique to this, or do they see that in other groups that they do studies like this as well?
Let me ask you your question back differently. Are you asking, is this a typical response rate for someone who's analyzing NHIS data?
That's exactly what I'm asking, because it is an enormous number.
Yeah, I can't answer that, whether this is typical response for NHIS data. But in any survey, when you've got an 80% participation, it's over the top.
I'm with you.
Let's dig in a little bit deeper. Just to give people a taste of what's coming down the road, there's a few points I'd like to go over. According to the Adams and his associates that wrote the paper, 24% of U.S. households have used the services of a chiropractor in their lifetime. Now, this is in contrast to the Gallup data from 2016 that said that number was closer to 50%. Also, this survey says that 8.4% of the U.S. population have used chiropractic services in the preceding 12 months. That translates into 54.6 million adults in the United States who've used chiropractic services, and 19 million who've done so in the previous 12 months. Now, this is the point where most of our colleagues' lights go dim when we start talking about the next couple data points. Chiropractic services were sought primarily for back pain, 63%, and neck pain, 30.2%. Now, that was the primary reason. But we also want to keep in mind the next two bits of feedback from Adams and their colleagues. And this is staggering if you think about it. The majority of users reported chiropractic helping a great deal with their health problem and improving their overall health or well-being. Now, that's not Gerry Clum. That's Adams and Company straight out of the article. So while back pain may have brought them into the office, or neck pain may have brought them into the office, a significant percentage of them were approaching chiropractic as a means to maintain or regain their overall health and well-being. And the authors went on to conclude that chiropractic usage was identified as involving a substantial percentage of the population of the United States. So let's look at the next slide, and the first bits of data deeper data we can get from Adams and Company. And they began to look at predictors of chiropractic use. You remember back in 1998, there was the Aston study. John Aston was at Stanford at the time, and he published a paper in JAMA as to why patients sought alternative healthcare. And his conclusions and the conclusions of Adams parallel pretty closely. First of all, persons who are 30 years of age and older have a tendency to seek chiropractic care. Persons who seek chiropractic care are more highly educated than those who do not. Persons who seek chiropractic care are more likely to be living in a relationship than not. The next one is quite interesting. Persons who seek chiropractic care are likely to be light alcohol consumers as opposed to outright abstainers. And persons with spinal pain, headache, migraine, or arthritis consult chiropractors. And then people who are white have a tendency to have greater use of chiropractic services. And then finally, people living in the western portion of the United States have a higher utilization of chiropractic services. So that starts to give us a little bit of background. You remember that Aston talked about the fact that more highly educated persons sought chiropractic care. He also talked about persons seeking chiropractic care who identified of being in a group that related to social justice, to feminism, to consumerism, and so on. The Adams paper didn't get into those kind of details, but everything that Adams came up with was consistent with what was produced in 1998 by Aston. Let's go on to the next reason. And so the patients were asked, or the respondents to the survey were asked, what were the reasons that they use chiropractic care? Now, this is not Gerry Clum's number. These are not Gerry Clum's numbers. These are not the chiropractic profession's numbers. These are straight out of the survey, and that general wellness and general disease prevention, 43.3% of the respondents said that's why they use chiropractic care. 16.3% they said they use it to improve their overall energy. 15.4% said they use it to improve their athletic and sports performance. 11% plus said they use it to improve immune function, and over 5% said they use it to improve concentration and memory.
Okay.
Now, every one of us has had a patient.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think that creates some confusion, though, because we just learned that 90 some odd percent of all patients seem to come in for low back or neck pain. And now they're in the office indicating that they're coming in for other reasons or continuing to come in.
Right. What got them in the door was back pain and neck pain. What maintained their relationship with the profession was the realization, the impact of chiropractic care on the general wellness, the disease prevention, and all of these other functions that never crossed their mind when they made that appointment because they had low back pain. But they're now drivers of their decision making.
And that's what I wanted people to get.
Well, it gets better. It gets better. Let's go a little bit deeper. And now, this next question is pretty staggering as well. The survey asked, did chiropractic motivate you to, and then among the choices were eat healthier. So over 10% of the population said they ate healthier because they'd been involved with a chiropractor. Over 21% of the population said that they exercise more regularly because of their chiropractic care.
Wow.
2.5% said that they've cut back on alcohol consumption, and 6% said they've cut back on smoking consumption. And approximately 6% said they eat more organic foods as a result of their contact and involvement with chiropractic. Now, again, we couldn't make these numbers up. But if you were to go to the marketplace and say, I have a strategy that causes 21% of the population to increase their exercise, you'd be a darling of healthcare, and you'd be in line for a Nobel.
Right.
And this is the kind of feedback that the survey produced. Let's go a little deeper. It gets even better. Now, think about this. They asked the patients, did chiropractic care lead to the following things? 32.5% of people surveyed said having exposure to chiropractic care gave them a sense of control over their health. Over 40% of the people that were surveyed said that chiropractic care led to reduced stress levels and help them relax. And 42% of the people said that they sleep better because of chiropractic care. Now it gets into the category where you're making this up, Clum, and said that 27.4% of the population said that they feel emotionally better as a result of chiropractic care. 38.5% said it's easier to cope with their health problems as a result of seeking chiropractic care. And overall health and improvement and made you feel better, 67% of the population. 13.3% of the population said their relationships with others have improved because of the chiropractic care they received. And 17% that they do better at school and better on the job in terms of their attendance because of chiropractic care. Staggering.